What's up, y'all? It's your man, Dad Dude, bringing you guys another video. So the Panthers fall to the Seahawks by a score of 27-37, and they are now 0-3 to start the season. There are not many positive takeaways from this game. It was close for a lot of the game. It felt like the Panthers really had a chance to win. But besides that, there aren't really any positive takeaways. Besides maybe that the Panthers should be confident that they have a capable and competent backup quarterback in Andy Dalton. But I feel like we already knew that. We already knew that Andy Dalton was a good backup quarterback at this point in his career. So that's not really news. We already knew that. But besides that, what positive takeaways are there from this game? The Panthers did not look well coached. The offense, besides Andy Dalton throwing for so many yards, the offense didn't look all that great. There were plenty of drives where the offense could not sustain anything. The defense comes out more injured than they were going into the game with, Frankie Louvu now injured. And also Xavier Woods also injured. So the defense probably isn't going to be as good going if next week's game against the Vikings. So that's not a positive takeaway. The coaching staff still seems to think that it's a good idea to run Miles Sanders over and over again into the back of the offensive line and not give Chuba Hubbard any carries. Miles Sanders had 9 carries for 24 yards. That is not a good yard per carry. I think that's like 2.7 yards per carry. Chuba Hubbard only got 1 carry, and yeah, it did not go for a lot of yards, but he only got 1 carry. What are we doing where we only give Chuba Hubbard 1 carry? When you go back to the Falcons game, Chuba Hubbard was the most effective running back for the Panthers in that game. Yeah, Miles Sanders wasn't bad in that game, but Miles Sanders has not been good in the past 2 games when he's gotten an ample amount of carries. If you see that Miles Sanders is not giving you the force you need in the ground game, give Chuba Hubbard a chance. That's not to say that Chuba Hubbard will, definitely fare better than Miles Sanders, but we don't know that because the coaches don't seem to think that Chuba Hubbard deserves more carries, which to me just seems crazy. In the Falcons game, he was your best running back. And then against the Saints and against the Seahawks, he barely gets any carries at all. What are we doing here? Is the Panthers organization trying to justify paying Miles Sanders as much money as they did? Because a lot of people, me included, I made a video when they signed Miles Sanders talking about how I did not think that was a good signing. I didn't believe in Miles Sanders as a future running back. I think he's a good or a pretty good running back, but he's not a game-changing running back. He's not a running back I think you want to spend a lot of money on. And that is so far showing to be the case for the Panthers. Maybe the organization is trying to prove themselves right by giving him the amount of carries they are and by not giving Chuba a decent amount of carries. But if they're really trying to win and establish a ground game, it does not make sense to not give Chuba Hubbard a good amount of carries. What are they doing? So that is definitely a negative takeaway. The coaching, the team did not seem well prepared with the way they handled the noise. All the false starts by Icky. I get it. It's only Icky's second year. The guy is a young offensive tackle. Offensive tackles can take a while to develop. But man, that was not a good showing for Icky. He had the false starts. He did not protect well in the past game. So, Andy Dalton was back there running for his life on a lot of those plays. And the Seattle Seahawks don't exactly have a great pass rush. So, it's, again, not a lot of good takeaways from this game. Really, the only good takeaway is how Andy Dalton played. And even that has to be taken with a grain of salt because so far, yes, Andy Dalton performed in this game better than Bryce Young has performed in the previous 2 games. But the Seahawks are by far the worst defense the Panthers have played. So you kind of have to factor that in. And I said in my preview video for this game that it wouldn't matter if Andy Dalton threw for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. Now, he did not get close to 6 touchdowns, but he almost got to 400 yards. He threw for 360. But it would not have mattered to me if he went out there and threw for 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. If Bryce Young is healthy and ready to go against the Vikings, he should get the start because he is the Panthers' future. He was the number 1 overall pick that they traded up for. He is the Panthers' quarterback. Like it or not, however you feel about Bryce Young, he is the Panthers' quarterback. He needs the reps. He needs the experience. We know what Andy Dalton is right now. This team is not built to compete, so it really shouldn't matter about who your quarterback is right now, besides the fact that Bryce Young should be the one getting the development. So if he's healthy, if that ankle is good and ready to go next week against the Vikings, put Bryce Young in, give him the reps. But I had the Panthers winning maybe 5 or 6 games going into this season. That's looking to be a stretch right now, 3 games in. This team just does not seem, this team, at least offensively, does not seem to have the talent, and overall does not seem to be that well coached. Although I shouldn't put that on the defense. The defense seems to be coached pretty well. The defense is battling injuries, and they still, for the most part, against the Seahawks, against a really good offense, showed themselves, they performed pretty well, all things considered. The offense, for all the applause this Panthers organization got for putting together a good offensive coaching staff, does not seem to be that well coached. The offense seems very vanilla. They do not seem to be able to scheme guys open. So if these Panthers coaches are worth what everyone said they were worth during the offseason, they should know that the Panthers don't have the receivers to go out there and just out-athlete guys, just get open on their own. They're going to have to scheme these guys open, and so far the coaching staff hasn't really done that. So all around, this game was not a good showing for the Panthers. The defense is more injured than they were going into the game. Frankie Louvu's injury is very concerning. I hope it's not nothing too serious. I hope he doesn't miss too much time. Xavier Woods also, because the Panthers secondary is already banged up with the loss of J.C. Horn. So that is a big loss if Xavier Woods misses any kind of amount of time. The offense looked pretty good at times with Andy Dalton. If you take away the obvious penalties and the ineffectiveness in the run game, Andy Dalton looked pretty good, but Andy Dalton didn't show himself to be anything that we didn't already know. So this game, I don't know what positives there are to take away from this game. If you're a Panthers fan like me, it was all around a rough watch. And I'm not calling for anybody's job yet. We're only 3 games into the Frank Reich era. But things are going to have to change, because right now this team just is not looking good. That's all I have for you in this one, guys. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. But if you're a sub-inclined, subscribe and leave a comment. I respond to just about everything. And I'll see you guys in the next one.